Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes here. For today's video, we have an article titled "The NBA's Starting Point Guards Definitively Ranked." So Ali Stevens here is an NBA analyst who is going to give us the top 30 point guards and the order in which they are in. And we are going to critique it because I'm sure there's going to be disagreements all the way from number 30 all the way down to number 1. So what I want you guys to do in the comment section below is give me your top 10 point guards in the NBA in order. And what I'm going to do is over on my second channel, Extra Crispy, I am going to do a video reacting to your guys' top 10 point guards in the NBA. So we are going to assume that this is as of right now because, of course, like, you can't look back like how a guy was like 10 years ago and rank them based on today. So I'm going to keep that in mind for this video. So number 30, we have the Phoenix Suns point guard, Isaiah Canaan. Yeah, I mean, we won damn G League MVP performance away from a different point guard getting signed to the Phoenix Suns and taking that starting spot over. I mean, Isaiah Canaan, I have nothing against him as a player. I'm sure he's a fine player out there. But for the Phoenix Suns to take that next level, they need to find their point guard of the future. Have that be via free agency. Have that be via trade, maybe for like a Mike Conley. Maybe it's via the draft of getting a guy like a John Morant in the NBA offseason. So Isaiah Canaan, I guess for now he's fine. The team's not really looking to like win or make the playoffs as right now anyways. So yeah, definitely gets the ranking for the worst starting point guard in the NBA. Number 29, we have Tim Frazier / Elfrid Payton. I mean, I need either or in this because Tim Frazier, yes, I can say it's the 29th worst point guard in the NBA or 29th best. I guess we'll be optimistic here. While Elfrid Payton, I feel like when he's actually completely healthy, Elfrid Payton's been pretty good the past few seasons. I mean, he's not like amazing or anything, but I liked him on the Phoenix Suns. I thought the Suns were kind of whack for getting rid of him in the first place. But on the Pelicans, he hasn't played a ton, but when he does, I feel like he does okay out there. So we're going to keep an eye on some of the other guys that were listed ahead of Elfrid Payton. Number 28, we have DJ Augustin. I mean, this right here, I would take Elfrid Payton right now over DJ Augustin. So a few seasons ago, DJ, he's always been one of those guys that, he's definitely never like your future point guard. He's more like a filler starting point guard where it's like, okay, you'll get a consistent player. You'll get a guy that can do a little bit of scoring out there, get you a few assists, not going to kill the stat sheet, but is respected around the league and should probably be more so a backup point guard, but just like he's okay for right now. Number 27, we have Emmanuel Mudiay of the New York Knicks. Mudiay actually shows some pretty good promise, and I will say out of like all the point guards, that is including Ntilikina on the New York Knicks, Emmanuel Mudiay I feel like has been the best out there. Like, yeah, Trey Burke was okay last season, but Mudiay's had some 30-point games. I know he can do a little bit of everything out there, so he's still extremely young. I've liked what he's done this season. It's not really leaning to wins by the New York Knicks, but right now it's about development and kind of like showing the coach and the GM what exactly you can do out there. Do I think he should be a starting point guard? I mean, maybe a few seasons down the road, but as of right now, probably more like a bench guy. But still, he's okay out there. Number 26, we have Collin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Collin is having a decent rookie season. He's definitely more of a scoring type of point guard, which, I mean, I guess that's kind of the wave right now in the NBA is being able to score that position. His defense is great. I always see him in his defensive stance looking pure savage out there. Playmaking needs to get better. I mean, 2-3 assists. You just got to show your teammates out there that you're willing to pass in the basketball and get it to them in the right spots. I know the Cavaliers don't have a ton of talent, so maybe he is passing the basketball, just the Cavaliers are not knocking down shots. But, yeah, Collin Sexton, I feel like, because I feel like I would take Collin Sexton over like Reggie Jackson right now, personally speaking. So we'll see how the rest of this list is looking. Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Who would you guys rather have as your starting point guard, Trae Young or Collin Sexton? Because they're both good scorers out there. Trae Young, I feel like maybe is a little bit of a better scorer, but Collin has the defense on point. Trae Young, playmaking wise, he does average quite a few turnovers, but he can get his teammates involved. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know which one I would rather have as my starting point guard of the future, but I think they're both got pretty promising NBA careers. Number 24, we have Kris Dunn of the Chicago Bulls. So Kris Dunn is probably one of the more underrated point guards in the entire NBA. You look at his stats, and I know he's like 25, so he was kind of one of those late bloomers because he played, I believe, all 4 years of college. His first year on the Minnesota Timberwolves was just kind of a wash, but now he's like a solid like 13, 14 point per game scorer. He gets you like 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Defense is average, but still pretty dang decent out there. And, he's I feel like Chicago Bulls got themselves a nice player. Now, at the same time, if the Bulls, when they do end up in the lottery, getting a top 5 pick, if they have a chance to upgrade that position, have it be via a trade or You know, getting a guy like John Morant. Also, I think they would probably give the reins of the team to a guy like that over Kris Dunn. But for right now, like Kris Dunn, he's a nice prospect to have for a rebuilding team. Next up, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Los Angeles Clippers. Definitely one of the players from the NBA draft that kind of took people by storm. I mean, I don't mean personally speaking, I thought he was going to be a good NBA point guard. I didn't think he would be this good, this quick, and he's showing a lot of promise out there. I mean, he's exactly what you want from that position. He's 6'6". You know, I mean, I know like the new wave also getting the taller point guards because just they can do so much athletically and just being able to shoot over the smaller guys out there. But sometimes when you get that height, you kind of sacrifice jump shooting and things like that. But being 6'6", he's shot the 3-ball pretty nicely and looks like he's a guy that is going to be around, you know, for the next 15 years as a starting point guard in the NBA. Next up, we have Bryn Forbes of the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, so Spur fans, you might have to enlighten me on this one. I know of Bryn Forbes. I watched him a little bit at Michigan State. As far as the 22nd best point guard in the NBA over some of these guys, I feel like pretty much all these guys, you know, if I was the Spurs, I would take a Shai Gilgeous or a Kris Dunn over him. But guys, enlighten me. I don't watch a lot of Bryn Forbes. What does he do out there that justifies this 22nd overall ranking? If you guys please let me know. I know he's probably more like a scoring oriented guy. But as soon as DeJounte's back, I'm pretty sure DeJounte is going to be taking back the reins of the starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs. Next up, we have De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings. Okay, I'm already pissed, man, because De'Aaron Fox is one of the most improved players in the entire NBA. His scoring, his playmaking, his rebounding, his defense, his explosiveness to get to the basket. His shooting's been great. Why the fuck is Reggie Jackson at? Yo, got Reggie Jackson over the man De'Aaron Fox? That is disrespectful, bro. That's okay. This is gonna be the anomaly right here, man. This is gonna be the guy that I look at and be like, okay, what guys do they have over De'Aaron Fox? This guy has been so great this season. And number 20, well, there we go. We got Reggie Jackson. I mean, yeah, what more can be said about the guy that gets paid $17 million? Did you guys see that clip? I know it was on Twitter and stuff going around, you know, like the news outlets. Blake Griffin was given an interview after a game that they barely won. And the guy asked him about like the win. And he's like, you know, like these are the type of games we lose. You know, we lose focus out there, and we don't always have our head in the games. And then as he's giving that interview, Reggie Jackson pops his face in front of the camera, looking like a freaking clown, guys. And just like, it was the most cringiest thing I've ever seen. And I felt so bad. I was like, Blake, great for being a leader. Reggie Jackson, get off my team. Next up, we have Darren Collison of the Indiana Pacers. So, you know, Collison, I mean, I do think he's better than DJ Augustin, but I kind of have him in like that same realm as like a guy that is like an average point guard. He goes out there, knocks out the 3-point shots, gets you a few assists out there. Never really like sexy on the stat line, but you know, he's just like, he's a reliable point guard, and that's kind of what he's been throughout his entire NBA career. I know it was either last year or the year before, he was actually leading the entire league in 3-point percentage. I mean, it was looking good out there. So I feel like he's been a nice fit for the Indiana Pacers. Now that Oladipo is out with injury, I'm wondering if he's going to have to like step up his scoring a bit more out there. It's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. Next up, we have Dennis Smith Jr. of the Dallas Mavericks. So I'm a big fan of Dennis Smith Jr. 18th, I think, is a pretty appropriate ranking. I would still take De'Aaron Fox right now over him, though, big time. You know, Dennis Smith, he's got a pretty nice career ahead of him. I mean, I think he can do everything. I feel like as far as scoring goes, he can get to the basket, he can shoot the ball out there, he can get his teammates involved. And I'm kind of hoping that the whole issue with him and Luka Doncic was just a one-time thing, because I don't want to see him develop to be like this drama queen out there. I definitely don't want to see that. But I like Dennis Smith. I think he's a nice point guard, and I hope he works out with the Dallas Mavericks, because it's not every day you draft a point guard and they end up actually being really good. So for the Dallas Mavericks just to give up on him this quickly would be a damn shame. Okay, next we have D'Lo of the Brooklyn Nets as the 17th ranked point guard. So you can almost argue that he's like a top 3 or 4 point guard in the Eastern Conference this season. Like, his scoring has been off the charts. He's kind of making people think like, you know, like the Lakers kind of jumped too quickly at getting rid of D'Lo and getting Lonzo Ball instead. And by the way, guys, Lonzo Ball, that means is ahead of D'Lo on this ranking right here. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I'm not a Lonzo hater. I think Lonzo's going to be a fantastic point guard. But this is more so to pay respect towards D'Lo and what he's been doing this season. I think he's been more like a top 13 point guard, not really top 17. And then next up, we got right there, Los Angeles Lakers, Lonzo Ball. So Lonzo is a very underrated point guard. People love to hate on him. It's either you love him or you hate him. I still think his defense, I still think his rebounding and his playmaking for the point guard position is next level. His shooting has been better this season, so that's something to think about. and he's only in his second year. So, yeah, top 16, I would still take De'Aaron Fox, maybe even Dennis Smith over him, but that's just for, like, offensive reasons. Let's move it on, though, guys. Next up, Milwaukee Bucks, Eric Bledsoe. So, very proud of Eric Bledsoe and the Milwaukee Bucks for kind of working things out. He's been a nice third option on the team. I know for a while when he went on that team, trade rumors were already popping up saying he was not a nice fit alongside Giannis. And I still don't think he's the greatest fit. I still think there's other point guards in the NBA that would be, you know, a more optimal choice having the lineup, because Eric Bledsoe is not the most amazing shooter out there. He's the guy that needs the basketball in his hands. But they still have somehow made it work. And I think a lot of that also comes down to guys like, you know, Malcolm Brogdon and Brook Lopez kind of like picking up some of the offensive slack that maybe you lack with Eric Bledsoe due to his shooting. But he still scores, like getting to the basket. I think he's averaging like, what, like 16.6 assists this season. So those are nice numbers. Next, ooh, Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague at 14? Okay, I might just need to next this one. I'm about to freaking swipe left, bro. Swipe right, swipe right, whatever it is, man. Whatever the swipe is, it's just like no bueno, because this is, oh, that's rough. Jeff Teague at 14? I mean, Derrick Rose should be starting over the man. Just move on. I mean, I'm not hating on him. I think he's a good point guard. He's just not better than all these guys listed. Goran Dragic of the Miami Heat. Okay, this list is getting a little rough because Goran Dragic, I don't even think has played this NBA season. So, yeah, he was an all-star last year. If he were to play, he would still be solid. Top 13. I mean, yeah, he was an all-star, so I guess I could say that this is doable. But he hasn't played at all, so it's kind of hard to rank a guy that has not played this season. Next up, we have Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets. In my opinion, he is kind of overlooked as one of the most improved players of the entire NBA. He's got his scoring up big time. He's a big reason for the success of the Denver Nuggets. I love what he does out there, and, you know, he's just an overall solid point guard. Not too much more to say about him. Next, we have Ricky Rubio of the Utah Jazz. Tell you, man, the list started off pretty decent. You get to like that D-Lo pick, and beyond that, I guess even like having De'Aaron Fox below Reggie Jackson. Yeah, this list is not very good. Ricky Rubio is good. Once again, a lot of those point guards I'm sure I would take, and the Utah Jazz would take over Ricky Rubio. Next, we have Mike Conley of the Memphis Grizzlies. Having his best season, actually, of his NBA career, averaging like 20 points, like 7-8 assists out there. Probably will get snubbed yet again from the All-Star game because that's just kind of how his career is gone. But, you know, I think a team's going to trade for him, and he's going to make an NBA team out there very happy and make them a lot better because of it. I know he's got a bad contract, but it's not as bad anymore. It's only got like 2 or 3 years left on it. So, yeah, man, not bad for a guy that can get 20 points, 8 rebounds. Next up, we have John Wall, the Washington Wizards. I mean, the Washington Wizards this season in general have been catching a lot of slack just because of the L's they were taking when him and Bradley Beal weren't on the team together. And honestly, it's looking like the Wizards are better off without John Wall and just going with Bradley Beal. But at the same time, that does not make John Wall a bad player. It just makes him a bad fit. He's still a guy that can get you 20 points, 10 assists on any given night. There's a lot of teams out there that would use his services. I would love to see him play with a team like the Pelicans. I feel like him and Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday in the backcourt would be really fun to watch. So I really hope he gets traded to a different team, guys. It's not working out in Washington. Next up, we have the all-star star for the Eastern Conference, Kemba Walker. So I'm very curious what other guys are going to be voted over Kemba in this case, being number 8. What more can be said about Kemba? Averaging, what, like 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists this season, putting the Hornets on his back, plain and simple, man. I'm so happy he's starting the all-star game. He deserves it. He's sticking out with the team. He's been loyal to the franchise and just saying, like, this is the team I want to play with for the rest of my career. Next, we have Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors. Last I checked, Lowry was leading the NBA in assists. I don't know if that's still the case or not, but he was averaging like 11 or 12 assists per game, which is not something you see all that often anymore. Like, you look back about 10 years ago, I mean, you would have like 3 or 4 or 5 point guards averaging 10+ assists. So Kyle Lowry, he's definitely bought into the system of the Toronto Raptors. You know, I had a feeling that his game was going to fall off due to losing his best friend DeMar DeRozan to the San Antonio Spurs. But no, man, him and Kawhi Leonard, they've been working the court out there. Pascal Siakam's been stepping up. I think a big part is Siakam and Serge Ibaka's, you know, surge again as an NBA player, pun intended, is that Kyle Lowry's just been doing a great job being a leader of this team. Next, we have Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of people say this man got snubbed as an all-star starter. Yeah, the fact that this guy can dominate so much without the three-point shot or even attempting threes is still kind of crazy to think about because if I know a guy is not shooting threes, I'm playing off him, but Ben Simmons still finds a way to get to that basket and, you know, get his teammates involved, grab the boards, and he's been very nice for the 76ers. Next, we have Chris Paul of the Houston Rockets. When Chris Paul is completely healthy, Yes, he is great. The issue is that Chris Paul's not completely healthy ever anymore. It seems like there's always some sort of nagging injury going on with him. But yeah, I mean, you know, props to him for being able to figure out that backcourt of him, James Harden. I know when he first went to the team, I thought that was going to be an issue. But no, man, he can still get you, like, I don't know, like his scoring is not as good as it used to be. His shooting's still there, but the playmaking's always been there. So yeah, Chris Paul would probably still stay as I might say top 7 point guard at this point. But you know, the 5th spot, I don't hate. Next, we have Kyrie Irving of the Boston Celtics. You know, would you guys say Kyrie Irving is better than Damian Lillard? I know Damian Lillard gets a lot of hate and doesn't really get the respect he deserves, but I guess I don't know which one I would say. Who is better, Kyrie or Damian Lillard? Because I'm sure number 3 is probably, yeah, Damian Lillard. So both guys, I feel like could be flip-flop back and forth. I feel like there's things out there that Kyrie does better than Damian, but I feel like there's things out there that Damian does better than Kyrie. So, I'm not really set on either one of these guys being in their spot. I feel like it could be flipped, but at the same time, I'm also kind of okay with it. And then number 2, we have Russell Westbrook of the OKC Thunder. So, as far as Russell goes, I don't know, man. I'm indifferent on Russell this season because the scoring's down, efficiency's down a little bit, but the rebounding's still great. The assist is still great. He's done a good job of taking a bit of a backseat this season to Paul George and let Paul George play like an MVP. So I think he has to have some respect towards that because we know what Russell was capable of doing if he's the only guy on the team. That is getting like 30 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists a game. He actually just had a game where he had like 18 assists and 17 rebounds. I was like, wow, this is crazy that nobody is talking about this. So Westbrook is starting to gain a little bit of my respect back. Not that my respect towards him means anything, but you know, as an NBA fan, it's just my thoughts. And finally, we have Stephen Curry. I agree that Curry is the best point guard in the NBA. I'm not just saying that, trying to be like a hype beast. I looked at his stats earlier, and he's averaging like 30 points, 6 assists this season, which is his best season since the 2016 season before Kevin Durant was even on that team. So the fact that he's putting up MVP caliber numbers on a team with Durant and Cousins says a lot about him and what he's doing efficient-wise this season. But yeah, man, like I was saying, give me your top 10 point guards in the comment section below. Very curious what they're looking like. And on my second channel, Extra Crispy, link in the description below, I will do a reaction to those top 10 point guards.